Hey guys, it's your pal Dave from notesandvolts.com, and we need to have a little talk. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I think it's finally time I do. And hopefully this can be used as a frequently asked questions that I can point people to if I can't answer their question directly. Now, even though I'm a relatively small YouTuber, you would be surprised by the volume of emails that I receive. It's sometimes kind of overwhelming. Now, I don't want to complain about that because I really appreciate that people are enjoying the channel and they're inspired and they're trying to learn and they're doing the projects. I think that's great. But a lot of times these emails are not that easy to answer because they are technical in nature and they would require a lot of research for me to give you the correct answer. And since I can't really give you a simple answer, I kind of let them slip down the list and I'm like, I'll get to it later. And new emails come in and I sometimes don't get to them. And I feel really bad, but please don't take it personally. Let me explain what's going on behind the scene. Now, the most common email I will get is, can I modify your program to add LEDs, OLED screens, motorized faders, this and that? The only answer I can give is probably. Where there's a will, there's a way. And unless I actually do it, I can't really foresee all the technical difficulties that you might run up against trying to do that. And also realize that when you're adding things to code, sometimes it's very simple, and sometimes just a simple addition will break 5 other things. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's just easier to scrap the whole thing and start fresh because it's just going to be a nightmare to do. So the basic answer to can I add this or that to your program is probably give it a shot. So, of course, the follow-up to that will always be, well, how would I do that? Can you give me some pointers, directions? Like, how would I actually do that? And this is a question that's almost impossible to answer. It's very difficult to explain coding via email. And it's actually pretty difficult to explain most things via email when you think about it. Think of something technical that you know or some skill you have. And then picture trying to explain that via email. Basically what you're doing is writing a textbook, and I think we can all agree that most of us don't have time for that. And the reality is the only way I could actually answer that question is by actually writing the program. And I don't have time to address each request that way. So another thing people don't realize is unless you're currently working on a program, you can quickly forget how it works and why you did things the way you did them. Here's my favorite programming joke. When you're writing code, the only 2 people who understand how it works are you and God. And 6 months later, God only knows how it works. So unless I'm really currently working on a program, I would have to go back to it and spend a long time going through it, reacquainting myself with the code. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Where's this? Where's that? So if a program's older, it's probably not up here anymore. The next most common email I'll get is, I followed your tutorial. I did everything right. It doesn't work. What's wrong? And they'll usually include a picture of their circuit. So here's a little test for the electronic technicians out there. I'm going to put up a picture of a circuit. Can you tell me what's wrong with it? Did you figure it out? Of course you didn't, because you can't tell by looking at it. Unless it's like just the most blatant error and it's a very simple circuit, usually you're not going to visually be able to see what's wrong. So the best I can do is give you some general electronics troubleshooting tips, which you can easily find with a Google search. But you want to just check all your connections, make sure each wire is going to where it should go. Make sure that you have good connections. You could have a bad breadboard socket that's not making good contact, and that could be a fault right there. If you trace every connection and they're good, then you have to start looking at components. Did you put a diode in backwards? Is a component broken? And really the only way to figure that out is to have the circuit in front of you and start measuring stuff. Use your multimeter, use your scope. So unfortunately, I can't really troubleshoot your circuit via email. It's just not something you can do. The third common email I'll get is someone asking, hey, I need this very specific thing. Can I pay you to make it? Now, when people ask that, I tend to ask them, well, what's your budget for your project? And usually they'll come back with something like, I could go as high as $50. Now you have to realize that even a simple project you have to source parts for, it's going to take a while to even figure it out. There's going to be lots of troubleshooting, things you have to work out, problems you have to solve. It's more work than you would think. Now, realistically, most of my projects take a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a month. Now, imagine if someone asked you to work for them for a couple of weeks. How much would you ask for that? It would probably be more than $50. So just realize, unless you're willing to make me an offer I can't refuse, it's probably going to be cheaper for you to go and buy an off-the-shelf device and use that, because getting a custom piece of gear made for you is an expensive proposition. So I hope this answers some questions and gives you some insight into what's going on behind the scenes. That being said, I do appreciate that you're inspired by my projects and you're trying them out and you're learning. So don't give up. Keep working your way through these problems and eventually you will get there. All right, everyone. Good talk. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next project.